Hey folks, this is Matt once again, and this time, another film that First Power 100 sent me, California. He sent me this. It was brand new, a Blu-ray DVD pack, unrated version, as well as a theatrical version. I only know the difference is apparently about 3 minutes, but as to what the difference is, I don't really know. But California, it's a film from, I think, 1993. Directed by Dominic Sena, or Sena, I'm not sure how to pronounce it. This is his first film he directed, and this is the same guy who would go on to direct the Nicolas Cage version of Gone in 60 Seconds. He would do Swordfish, White Out, and Season of the Witch with Nicolas Cage. Not really the greatest of directors, to be honest. But California, pretty much the plot is you have these two couples. First you have David Duchovny, which I think he was just around this time, around 1993, this when X-Files was happening, or started, I should say. I think it was just about to start. So he might have done this film before X-Files, I'm not sure though. Him and his woman, played by Michelle Forbes, she's a photographer, he's a guy who wrote an article on serial killers. And he spent some money, got a car, stuff like that, and he needs to come through with a book. And she wants to go to California. So they decide, okay, they're going to go across the country, look at these murder sites, historic murder sites, so she can take pictures and he'll put like a tape recorder and such, get info. So they can get to California and he'll write the book. But they need someone to help them pay for gas and stuff like that. So they put in, not really an ad, they put a note card at like a school, and it gets picked up by Brad Pitt's character. And Brad Pitt's character, pretty much typical redneck. He's got a big thick beard, very heavy southern accent. He's got a cap with like a Confederate, it's not on there, but Confederate flag on his cap. Can't really see it, but that's pretty much what he looks like there. And he decides he'll go, as well as Juliette Lewis, who's his woman, who's pretty much childlike, and you find out what happened to her. You find out later on that she was a victim. When she was around 13, she had been raped, and the reason she's with Brad Pitt's character is, even though he's beats her up if she's bad, that she doesn't think he's mean, and that if anything happens to her, she'll know that he'll protect her. So, I mean, but she has just the way she acts. I mean, a lot of times Juliette Lewis does this in films where she kind of acts, I don't want to say stoned, but like she's here on Earth, but her mind is on Mars. Kind of like Juliette Lewis type of acting. I'm not really the biggest fan of Juliette Lewis. I don't mind her in From Dusk Till Dawn, but I don't know, the other stuff I could take or leave her. Just Juliette Lewis is just not one of my favorite actresses. At times she would yammer on. I would kind of get annoyed with her. And granted, when she talked about like when she talks to David Duchovny's woman about what happened to her as a kid, you felt sorry for her. But then there are little moments where she's talking like, okay, can you please, shut it right now? That was me though. But again, I'm not really a big fan of the actress. But pretty much they finally get together and they go cross country and they visit these murder sites. And you find out things about Brad Pitt, that he killed his landlord, he's been in jail before, he wasn't allowed to leave the state, but he did anyway. He, what is it? He's carrying a gun, and almost kind of seems like him and David Duchovny strike up a friendship in a way. Like invites David Duchovny to a bar. Someone tries to kid Duchovny's ass in a bar, but Brad Pitt helps him out. Teaches David how to shoot a gun, And of course, David Duchovny's woman is getting pissed, like, I don't know who you are anymore. You want to even pit that up a gun before. She's really uncomfortable with Brad Pitt's character for good reason. I mean, hell, before they even got in the car, she's like, we should just, are you really this guy, these people? Because she could kind of see it coming, but David Duchovny's character, he's sort of glass half full type of character where he, from time to time, you hear him narrate that how they look like poor, just from the look you can tell they're poor white trash. But he didn't want to be judgmental. He wants to find out sort of the reasons why people kill. So that's why he's going to these murder sites. Pretty much the innocent, which by the end of the film, he's going to be subjected to some, how do I put it, reality check, so to speak. I think it gets to a point where Brad Pitt finally does kill it. And one particular scene where Brad Pitt kills a guy in the bathroom, you tell the viciousness of it. Because the poor guy has like a catheter, and Brad Pitt just kills him just to steal his money, and blood all over the floor. Kills another guy in a gas station, takes them hostage. And throughout, David Duchovny is always trying to ask, why are you doing this? Is it because your mother or father? Does it want to make you powerful? Or so on and so forth. And pretty much realizing that he's not going to get any reason out of Brad Pitt. And I thought that was a good idea, that you never really find a reason why Brad Pitt's doing it. It's just, sometimes it's just because. Then it gets to a finale where Juliette Lewis gets killed by Brad Pitt's character. You don't see it, but you get a little bit of the aftermath. Kidnaps David Duchovny's woman. Duchovny gets out, chases him, hits Brad Pitt with a shovel. They struggle. David Duchovny. One thing that happens, another. David Duchovny finally does shoot Brad Pitt. Finally does actually kill someone. Because even Brad Pitt before said, well, if you've never seen someone die, you never killed someone, then why the hell are you writing about something you know nothing about? California, I thought it was an okay time waster, but it's not really a film, again, it's not really a film I'm going to rewatch over and over again. I thought it was well shot, has some decent camera angles, the cinematography. So I thought it was a well shot film. It was definitely a bomb when it came out. Definitely a box office bomb. It says here there's even attempts at a comic book adaptation, which I'm like, why? I think that's fucking stupid, but that's me. No wonder it was canceled. Probably one of those limited, hey, here's who the fuck was, oh yeah, here's a comic book adaptation of California. Yeah, I want that. That makes a lot of sense. But, well, let's go through this. The acting-wise, Brad Pitt, I know when I did my unpackaging, some people were praising Brad Pitt's performance. To be honest, Brad Pitt's performance didn't really do much for me. He just played a redneck. He was a redneck, and I thought he was a little bit over the top, because at times he's snorting, like, or whatever the hell he did. Every once in a while, it was like, really? And I don't know, I would say Brad Pitt, I thought, did better in films. For instance, Seven, or Fight Club, among other films. But I don't know, I just okay, he's a redneck, and that's pretty much it. He's a redneck, and he looks like a redneck, he talks like a redneck, and he's a redneck who happens to be a little bit psycho. I don't really see the big deal with Brad Pitt's performance. I thought it was what it was. Juliette Lewis, at times when she kept yapping and yapping, I'm like, okay, can you please calm down? But then, the quieter moments, especially her last couple scenes, I thought you felt a little sorry for her character. David Duchovny, being a big fan of the X-Files. Of course, I like David Duchovny. Granted, he's not the best actor, meaning he pretty much does the same thing. He's always very dry in his performance. But I still like him. I always liked him. Again, big fan of the X-Files. I liked Evolution, which he was in. I'm not really a big fan of Playing God. I think that's another film. I think that's why he doesn't really get a lot of starring roles, because when he does, the films flop. I mean, this film flopped, Evolution flopped, Playing God flopped, even the X-Files sequel flopped. It deserved it. And the first X-Files film, it did alright, but from what I understand, the company, it did alright, but not as good as they thought it would. So, that's why you don't see David Duchovny in a lot of movies, especially leading man-wise. But I don't mind him. I liked him. And the woman, Michelle Forbes, who played his woman, she did fine as well. I would say the first half of the film, I thought, really wasn't the most interesting. You know, you get Brad Pitt and Juliette Lewis's life on the trailer park. Like, you see Brad Pitt digging a hole, and you find out that he's butt naked. And of course, then you find out later that's where he buried this his landlord, or whatever the hell. But you also have a teeny appearance of this, I guess, parole officer who has like a hook for a hand. Very over the top, very, I thought, piss poor acting, and really didn't go anywhere, because he's introduced in one scene, giving Brad Pitt a hard time. Then he's introduced when they find the body of the landlord, and then pretty much forgotten. And it's almost like, okay, they're going to build this guy who's going to follow Brad Pitt, but nothing really happens, which is fine because he was a shitty actor. I don't, Siskel and Ebert, may they rest in peace, I don't really understand their terrifying, horrifying, and unflinchingly honest. I don't really understand that. Brad Pitt is outstanding. I don't know what's so outstanding about his performance. He just plays redneck. He's redneck. I mean, I don't really get what's so, at times I found him laughable because his snorting, or like he laughs like that. I didn't find him scary. I found him goofy at times, or over the top at times. Like Dadian, he comes out, he's butt naked. I'm like, what the fuck? I guess that's scary. Like, I just, if I compare Michael Keaton in Pacific Heights, that's a guy who was kind of creepy because he was smart and he was playing as a victim. And like Michael Keaton in Pacific Heights, I could understand the praise. Or even Michael Keaton in Desperate Measures, I could understand. Here, though, Brad Pitt is a redneck. Okay, he's a redneck. I just didn't really see it. You don't really know much about his history other than he sometimes thinks he saw a door to another dimension. Because he's a fan of the Twilight Zone. I don't know, it wasn't really... I like the little bits, for some reason I like the little bits when Dave Duchovny and his woman visit these historic murder sites. I almost kind of wanted the film to be about that. Him and his woman visiting these historic murder sites, and actually, that would have been interesting. Like, him and his woman, they're just going around visiting these historic murder sites. And you build up those two characters, and then... I don't know, maybe it could be like The Hitcher or something. They pick up someone, or they meet someone, and they're followed by someone. And I think, like, Brad Pitt, it would have been nice if you had that going, like I mentioned, but then you had like a Rutger Hauer type of performance or type of character. I mean, it's trying to be the whole thing where you have the innocent guy who at the end has to take a life, and being very deep on, the last shot where it's a while later, and he mentions about how who knows what the reason is. There's anyone's capable of killing someone. It just depends if you don't have guilt about it. And Brad Pitt's character didn't, and trying to be very deep about it. It was nice to see David Duchovny shoot someone with blood. Kind of sometimes you wanted to see that on the X-Files. Like, come on, shoot the fucking alien in the face. I know this isn't much of a review, but I'm trying to figure out what to talk about because pretty much everything I explained is what happens. I can understand why this film flopped. I didn't recapping Brad Pitt. I don't really think he was that fantastic. He was there, but I don't think he was that great. I don't think he was that outstanding. He was just played a redneck. At times he was goofy. Juliette Lewis, like, I don't think this deserves a 6.6. I'm sorry. I think 6.6 is a little too high. I'm sorry. 6.6, really? Out of 10 on IMDb? 6.6 is too high. Way, way too high for this. It's cost $9 million, made $2.3 million. I just... At the end of the day, the movie's much ado about nothing. I like David Duchovny, so it was nice seeing him in this kind of role around or before X-Files. Nice to see him. That's really what I was getting at. I was like, oh, cool, there's Fox Mulder. And this is sort of before X-Files really took off as a phenomenon. That was really the thing I was watching. That was the only thing that sort of kept me involved. The rest of it just was what it was. And yeah, Juliette Lewis, you felt sorry for her as the movie went on. I admit that. The ending, again, it's mainly David Duchovny's handcuffed, gets knocked out. This woman who, I won't go into that, she was saved, helps him. He gets in the truck. He stupidly drives too fast, smashes into another vehicle while his woman gets beat up by Brad Pitt. It's the next morning. David Duchovny hits him with a shovel, but doesn't shoot him. Checks out on his woman, goes back, gets knocked down. His woman hits Brad Pitt, and then Duchovny shoots Brad Pitt. That's your finale. It was what it was. It's a time waster at most, but to be honest, I don't think it's that great. It wasn't that. It was much ado about nothing. I don't really get the big praise for Brad Pitt. He was, hey, if you want to see him as a redneck, here you go. Here's your movie. Brad Pitt, redneck extraordinaire. White trash central. AKA, probably a guy like this living where I'm at, across the street. But it was what it was. Decently shot. Yeah, I don't know what the new footage was. It's only a 3-minute difference. No other features, no interviews, no commentaries, nothing like that. Not much of a thriller. Wasn't really that thrilling. Wasn't terrifying or horrifying. I don't really get what was so terrifying about this. Definitely not an action film. Definitely nothing funny about it. Definitely nothing exciting about it. I guess this is, you put this in the drama, and even then it's really not that deep as it thinks. And psychological thriller, I'm sorry, I've seen a lot better psychological thrillers. The Hitcher is a lot better. Rutger Hauer's film, of course, The Hitcher. That's a much better psychological thriller. Suspect Zero with Aaron Eckhart is much better. And there's a lot better films out there than California, in my opinion. I don't see what the big deal with is, but what do I know? So that's California. It was there. It's not really a big fan of it, but again, what do I know? Time waster at most, but it was there. But either way, thanks for watching. Take care, and we'll see you later.